Today I'm by the River Jordan in Market Harbour, the town that I live in. Our story today comes from 2 Kings chapter 5 in the Old Testament. And it's a story about a man named Naaman who was told to go and wash in the River Jordan. But obviously it wasn't this River Jordan. So let's have the story now. Thank you. Hello, I wonder if you've seen my friend Trevor. Has he been past here? He's got lots of fur and a big pointy yellow beak. I wonder if you might have seen him. I need him to come and help me with the story today. So I wonder where he is. Trevor, Trevor, what are you doing down there? Come up, come up. Come on, let me help you, let me help you. There we go. Here's Trevor, this is my friend Trevor. Say hello, Trevor. A little bit scared. Well, you don't need to be scared because we're telling a story, aren't we? Okay, you don't need to speak the whole way through, otherwise no one's going to hear it, are they? Okay, that's good. So, today the story is from the Old Testament in the Bible. And it's from 2 Kings chapter 5. And it goes from verses 1 up to 19. Okay? All right, so here we go. It's about a chap called Naaman. Well, it is a bit of a strange name, I suppose, but we'll hear a bit more about him. So, Naaman was a mighty warrior, a commander in the Syrian army. He was greatly admired by the king of Syria, but unfortunately, Naaman had a terrible skin disease. Oh, well, yes, it is a bit sad, because the skin disease meant he couldn't sort of do his work, and he couldn't live with his family. He had to stay away from other people in case they got it. So yes, it is a bit sad, but there's better news to come, so listen up. Okay, so Naaman's wife had a maid, a young girl, who had been captured in a recent raid on Israel. Okay, that means that the army from Syria went into a place in Israel and they took people away, they captured them, okay? And she was one of them, so she was taken away from her friends and her family and everything she knew. And she was now working for Naaman and his wife. So, one day, the girl said to her mistress, "I wish my master would go and see the prophet in Samaria, because he would heal him of the skin disease." I know. Yeah, it's great news, isn't it? I told you it was going to pick up. So, let's read on. Now, Naaman told the king that the young girl from Israel had told him all about a prophet who would heal him. The king of Syria then instructed Naaman to go to Israel and visit that prophet. And what's more, he was going to write him a letter to the king of Israel so that Naaman would be accepted and taken seriously. Yes, very good news. Naaman and some of his officers, Naaman and some of his officers and servants set out for Israel, taking silver and gold and clothing as gifts to pay for his healing. And the letter to the king of Israel, well, I'm going to just say what it said. It said, "With this letter I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of his skin disease." Yeah. So, when the king of Israel read the letter, he panicked. He couldn't heal anyone. Well, this must be a trick. What was he going to do? He couldn't heal him. If he didn't heal Naaman, then the king of Syria might want to fight him for not healing him. And if he refused to even try, then the king of Syria still might fight him, because he wouldn't even try. What's the matter? There's not going to be any fighting. Calm down. You don't need to panic. There's no fighting in this story. Fortunately, Elisha, the prophet, heard all about it and told the king to send Naaman to him, adding, "He will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel." That is good. So Naaman went with his horses and his chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. But instead of going to see him, Elisha sent a messenger out to Naaman with this message. You have to listen. Go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River, then your skin will be restored and you will be healed. That is good. Naaman wasn't happy though. No, he wasn't happy. Not at all. Okay, we're getting the idea. He wasn't happy. He became very angry. And he stalked away, saying, I thought he would certainly come out to meet me. I expect him to wave his hand over the skin disease, to call on the name of the Lord, his God, and to heal me. And anyway, aren't the rivers of Damascus better than any of the rivers here in Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman turned and went away in a rage. You don't blame him, you would do too. My goodness me. Well, okay. His officers tried to reason with him and calm him down, saying, Sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So, why don't you obey him when he says simply, go, wash and be cured? He has got a point. So, Naaman went down to the River Jordan and he dipped himself in 7 times. 1, 2. Okay, I think that was 7. Just like that. That's exactly what he did. He dipped himself in. No, don't do it again. Dipped himself in 7 times, just as the man of God had instructed. And, do you know what? His skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child. He was healed. Lots to cheer about. Then Naaman and his entire party went back to find Elisha. They stood before him and Naaman said, Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. That is good indeed. Yep, worshipping God. So Naaman was so pleased that he wanted to give a gift to Elisha. That's right, the silver and the gold and the clothing that he brought with him. But Elisha replied, I will not accept any gifts. No, he wasn't going to. It is a surprise, isn't it? He didn't want to have any gifts in exchange for just doing God's work. And even though Naaman urged him to take a gift, Elisha refused. You don't think that was a good idea? Okay, but get this, you have to hear the ending. Because then Naaman said, from now on, I will only worship the Lord, the God of Israel. Yeah, that is really good news. Okay. Did you enjoy that story today? All right, then go and tell your friends all about it. See how much of you can remember and see what your friends think of that story. Okay. All right, shall we say goodbye? Bye. Well, that was an interesting story, wasn't it? There's loads going on in this story. And I want to start by saying God is the same today as he was yesterday and he will be tomorrow. God is the same forever. We see God healing through Jesus in the New Testament, and here in the Old Testament, God was healing through Elisha. But God still heals today. Now in our story, Elisha didn't come out to see Naaman when he turned up for help. Naaman wasn't at all impressed. And he wasn't impressed that he was being sent to wash in some second-rate river. But it wasn't about Elisha. If Elisha had come out and made some big gesture of healing Naaman, then Naaman might not have recognised that he was actually healed through God's power. He may have put too much on Elisha. God will sometimes heal out of compassion, But often in the Bible, God uses physical healing as a way to reveal himself to people. And in this case, it was the commander of a foreign army who saw God in his own miraculous healing, and through that recognized that there is only one true God. And he vowed to worship only God from then on. God's love and grace isn't just for the people who already know him and love him. God is interested in everyone. He can and will speak directly to people, but he's always used people to speak for him. As Christians, we all have a mission to tell other people about Jesus, to pass on the good news, to spread the word. And in this story, the Israeli servant girl pointed Naaman to God. She saw his need and knew that God could heal him, if only he would go and speak to the prophet Elisha. Now, she may have been scared to speak to her mistress. After all, she was only a servant. And they could easily have ignored what she had to say or punished her even. But she took a chance. It can be difficult to tell people about God, but you only need to say something small when a person is in real need and let God do the rest. Often God answers our prayers in ways that we weren't expecting. Naaman didn't expect to be told to go and do something as simple as washing in a river. If we ask God for direction and he answers our prayer, then we should know that it will work out well. We should know that we can do that. Often we hesitate, like Naaman did. Perhaps we question the validity because it's too simple. Maybe we're reluctant because it's too big. It's too much of a risk. Maybe we're disappointed because it wasn't what we were expecting. God is a faithful God. You can trust him and rely on him. He has knowledge and wisdom way beyond our understanding. If you go to God and he answers your prayer, then accept what he's shown you and know it will all go well. And if you get an opportunity to tell someone about Jesus or help someone in need, then take a chance and let God do the rest. Amen.